And welcome everyone to This Week in Tiger Athletics. Today we will catch up with some of the events happening in FHSU athletics. And today I am joined with the Sports Information Director, Ryan Prickett. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Boomer. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
And let's start with a little bit of a review with some of the sporting events that happened last week.
Yeah, a big week for Tiger Athletics. We are finally in overlap season as far as winter and spring is concerned. Baseball and softball got cranking up, and so we're just kind of at that point now where we're going to have plenty of stuff going on here for the next month or so. But women's basketball had two big wins at home last week over their rivals Emporia State and Washburn, and you know that game against Emporia State, that was one of the most impressive things I have ever seen out of our program, our women's team, to go from 15 down in the second quarter, and it wasn't looking very good. Emporia was hitting a ton of shots, and then all of a sudden we kind of got on a burst, and then we just locked down defensively, and all of a sudden a 17-0 run to end the second quarter, we have a 2-point lead, and then it's like we just carried that intensity into the second half, and I mean we just flat out throttled Emporia, and not a lot of teams do that. It was really historic, really, because Emporia hadn't lost that bad in a long time, almost more than 2 decades, since 1995. They had, I think that was their biggest loss since then. So I mean their women's program has been a powerhouse traditionally for years upon years, and to get a win like that over them at home, that was big, and a big boost. You know, after I said last week with Lindenwood, we had that game that we scored a lot of points, and it felt like we really used that as a boost into this week, and we just kept the ball rolling, and then on Saturday against Washburn, same thing. We kind of started a little bit sluggish, but then once we found what we wanted to do and what we wanted to attack against Washburn's defense, we really locked down defensively again and got on a big run, and then we won that game by almost 20 points. So those are two huge wins against programs that have been traditionally good for years. And to be sitting at 18-4 now overall, and 9-4 in the conference, and now we're in fourth place alone. That's huge, and it's huge going into this week too. But to try and get one of those top 4 spots in the standings, it's big to try and get yourself in good position to maybe get a bye for that first round of the MIAA tournament and not have to play an opening round game. So you could get your ticket punched straight to Kansas City. So. And then over on the men's side, it was one of those weeks where we knew it was going to be tough against Washburn. They're right there with Northwest Missouri as two of the top teams in the conference. They're very athletic this year, and we got the job done against Emporia, albeit a little bit ugly. Both teams were not shooting the ball particularly well that night, but we found a way to grind that game out at the end. And then Washburn, we just didn't hit the jump shots that we needed to hit against Washburn. They're a good defensive team. They force you to take tough jump shots, and we just didn't hit them. And it was just one of those games that they just kind of kept us at arm's length all day long, and they kept hitting a kind of a big 3 every time that we felt like we might threaten. Somebody'd come down, hit a 3, and then the lead's right back out to 13 or 11 or whatever it was. So it was just one of those games where you tip your cap. They're a good team, and we didn't really lose any ground in the conference standings. We went 1-1, and nobody else really made big jumps around us. So we're still sitting in 6th. So we're okay. We just need to try and figure out a way to go out there and get some wins on the road. That's been a struggle for us, and hopefully we can right that ship this week. So, and then wrestling went on the road for a couple of duels. They got a big win at Central Missouri, but fell at Lindenwood. We had a chance late in that match against Lindenwood to potentially pull out a win. It came down to the heavyweight match, but we would have needed a major decision or a pin to win that, and it just didn't happen for us. But really the big swing match of that duel was F.A. Osagai's match at 149. He had a strong lead, I think, in the third period, and he just got caught in bad position, got reversed, and a guy pinned him. So that right there, where it looked like F.A. was going to win, that you look at the final result of the duel, that you swing those results the other way, all of a sudden that might have turned into a 19-17 win for us. So that was a big result, and unfortunately that didn't go our way. So we got one more conference match this week coming up. So and then baseball, they got a great start to the season down in Texas. They beat Texas Permian Basin all 3 games in a 3-game series. We had Tanner Smith, a transfer that came in for us this year, on the mound. He's a big 6'8" pitcher,
Wow.
big guy, and he dominated. Went out there, struck out 9 over 6 innings, didn't allow a run, set the tone for the rest of the series. He went out there in game 1 and shut him down, and our bullpen did a good job. We got a shutout win, and then it just we kind of fed off of that and got 3 big wins down there. And hopefully that's a confidence boost for our program that has struggled a little bit these last 2 years. So hopefully that'll be good things to come for them. And then softball, they went 1-2 out at UC Colorado Springs. That turned into kind of an offensive slugfest, really.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like there was much pitching in that series. So, results were 8-7, and then we won 14-11, and then lost yesterday. Weather shortened the last game because it got really cold and nasty halfway through the game, but UCCS beat us 11-5 in that before they called it due to the poor conditions. So it was one of those weeks where I think we're just going to have to make sure the pitching gets stronger, and maybe we can have some success down the road if that happens. But definitely the pitching has to get better if we're going to have some success. So. And then in track and field, we had kind of our usual suspects have big weeks again. Sam Dreiling and Jake Morrow in the pole vault. They're now up in the top 5 nationally on the performance list, so that's huge for them. And then Dean Cronin and Brett Meyer in the distance events, improving their status on a national level. They're both inside the top 10 now in their events. And then on the women's side, we finally got a provisional. Salam Ball, she cleared the provisional height in the pole vault, so hopefully she'll keep improving on that as the nationals approach here in a few weeks. So.
And not a whole lot happening here in Hayes this week.
Yeah, it's a lot of teams are out of town this week. Yeah.
But what can some Tiger fans expect to hear from?
Yeah, I mean, we have a wrestling duel at home this week. We do have that, and then potentially some baseball games at the end of the week. So we do have a smattering of things going on here. The wrestling duel we have against Newman on Wednesday night. That's going to be senior night, so that'll be the last chance to see our senior wrestlers wrestle at home. So we hope we get as many people out to that event as possible. As the last few weeks they'll be in tournament action. They'll go to the MIAA tournament this coming weekend, and then they go to NCAA regionals in a couple of weeks, and then if anybody qualifies for nationals, they go on to nationals. So this is going to be last chance to see Tiger wrestling here at home. And then baseball, they have a midweek game scheduled at Northwestern Oklahoma State. That was supposed to be on Tuesday, but got pushed to Wednesday due to the impending forecast that may happen. And but I guess we'll have to see if Mother Nature drops a bunch of snow this week. That's probably going to leave the games at the end of the week here at home potentially in question. We're supposed to play Newman this weekend, Friday and Saturday here at Larks Park in Hayes. So really, that's kind of what we have going on here. But as far as on the road, we go to Northeastern State and Central Oklahoma in basketball. Huge games for both teams, really. Like I said, the men are trying to figure out a way to win some games on the road. And then on the women's side, Central Oklahoma's right there in the standings picture with us. And, when we talk big picture, the women are in really good shape right now to be, having a good chance at maybe getting to the NCAA regionals with the record they have right now. Central Oklahoma's right there in the mix with us. So these are going to be huge head-to-head games these next 2 weeks, because those teams are going to turn around and come up here to Hayes and play as well. So Northeastern State, that's always a hard place to play. It's just one of those arenas where offensively I've never really seen us go gangbusters down there. So, I mean, it's one of those places where we're just going to have to show up and play well, despite what their records are right now for both the men and the women. So, big week for basketball as far as standings are concerned. And then softball's heading down to Texas. They're going down to San Antonio. So, we would imagine they're going to get some warmer temperatures this week.
At least I'd hope so.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. None of that freezing stuff out in Colorado that they potentially had to deal with on Sunday. So, but yeah, they have some games down there against some Lone Star Conference opponents and some Heartland Conference opponents. So we'll see how those go. And track and field, they're heading on up to Concordia University up in Nebraska. So that's just another indoor event up there. Concordia is an NAIA school, but we've been going to this meet for, I think, a good 3 or 4 years in a row now. So hopefully we'll put together some good marks up there and up those national marks that we need to get higher. So.
All right. Well, that'll conclude this edition of This Week in Tiger Athletics. I'd like to thank Ryan Prickett for coming on and taking time out of his day to give us some information.
Yeah, no problem.
And on behalf of Ryan, I'm Boomer Sabata saying goodbye and go Tigers.